Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, January the 26th. We've got ALEX LaBRUNERIE with us from LaBrunerie Financial. Always good to have you here, Alex.
Thanks, Paul. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Same to you. We've got three different topics we're going to deal with today. The last one, Bitcoins. I don't understand. You were trying to explain it to me, but I still don't understand it. But let's start first.
Most of us don't.
All right, let's start first of all, the tax reform.
Yes.
That went into effect. People who have a Missouri Most account, that's a 529, right?
Yes, and we've spoken in the past about the 529s, Paul, as a way to tax plan earlier in the fall of last year.
So what's a Missouri Most account?
That's the 529 version in our state that allows parents or grandparents or interested adults save and set aside money for a child's college education on a tax-advantaged basis.
So a mother, a father,
a grandparent,
an aunt,
an uncle,
anybody, as long as it's designated for a child's education.
Yes, yes.
And it was for college education.
College, post-high school.
Okay. So what's changed?
So under this new Tax Reform Act in Washington that came out in late December, 529 accounts, or the Missouri Most, can now be used for high school costs, private high schools, parochial schools, or schools that, in other words, educational expenses below the in the K through 12 zone. So
it doesn't have to be used just for college education.
College, yes.
So conceivably, a grandparent, if they want to pay for a child's education, could put money into a 529, right. And then the parent can take that money from the 529 that the grandparent put in and pay for the child's education.
And yes, so if the child has a high school expense now, a parochial high school or a private high school, that $529 can now be used for that tuition, as well as college.
Does the money have to be in the 529 account for a certain number of months or years, or can it be put in one day and then taken out?
Depends on the Missouri Most plan has no surrender charges on it if you use the direct sold account, and a lot of 529 accounts outside the Missouri account also have no surrender charges or cost to exit. So generally the answer is
so theoretically, if a grandparent wanted to pay, or if a parent wanted to pay for a child's education and get a tax deduction on it, they put the money in the Missouri Most account, the 529, put it in there, they deduct that from their
Missouri tax.
From the Missouri tax, and then they take that money out of the 529 and pay for the education.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
There are limits. They can only do $8,000 per year.
Okay. So that's what's changed. Then we wanted to touch on what sectors look good for 2018.
Yeah, Paul. Washington kind of choked out this tax reform bill at the last minute. Supporters of the bill have said it's a major tax reform, and they're certainly right. It is a major change in the tax law, and I think, as many of your listeners probably know and viewers know, it's favors a corporate tax cut is quite extraordinary. So it looks like
it's favoring the business more than it is the individual.
That's generally the case, and so. Large corporations, C corporations will get major tax reductions on a permanent basis. Business owners who have LLCs will be thinking about planning with their accountants for how they might be able to create income that gets taxed at a lower rate. That's still to be determined. What we do know, though, as far as Wall Street is concerned in the stock market, is that this sets up 2018 to be a very promising year for earnings growth. The expectation was already built in for this tax cut. It's been delivered by Washington, and now the money should start coming in from overseas bank accounts by American corporations, probably showing up in dividends, payouts, or merger and acquisition activity. One sector that we think might be especially benefited is the banking sector. And there are ways to invest in the banking sector, buying index funds that specialize in the banking sector. And investors ought to look at those if they're in the mood to invest in stocks.
Okay, the one thing I've got to ask you, which I do not understand, Bitcoins. What are Bitcoins? We hear about them and we read about them, but I can't figure it out.
Well, that makes two of us as far as understanding them, Paul, because they have just taken over in the speculative market. They're cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies that I think tech-savvy individuals can buy and store on the virtual web or on their computer systems and trade among each other for exchange value.
But they actually have no value as far as money is concerned, right?
Virtual value, that's right. They don't have a tangible, I can put my hand on it and put it in my pocket or take it down to the bank and deposit it.
So then how do you make money off of a Bitcoin if you can't?
I think one person, you buy it at a set price, say $10,000, and there's so much demand because there's a limited number of Bitcoins out there that the demand hits the supply and the level, and the price goes up.
So you actually give somebody money for this virtual money.
Yes.
That doesn't really exist in reality.
That's right.
It's just out there floating
around.
Make
sure that we don't suggest doing that or recommend doing that.
Okay.
It's just a development in technology and money.
Okay, I think I'll stay away from that. I don't understand it. So that's the brief Bitcoin
most people
explanation.
Should stay away from it.
What about tax-free bonds? We're almost out of time.
Interest rates. If people are looking for a safe, the high-yield tax-free bond market is a good place for opposite of Bitcoin. You can put your hands on the money and you get tax-free interest. Those are promising for more conservative investments in 2018.
Okay. ALEX LaBRUNERie, thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
by.
Paul.
Always a pleasure chatting with you. If people want more information about any of this, they can contact you. Your phone number is?
We're in Columbia, 573-449-5313.
Okay. ALEX LaBRUNERie, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Good. Happy New Year to you once again. And thanks for explaining Bitcoins to me.
Well, I don't know if I was helpful.
Monday, Maria Trevor will be here with her harp. Going to enjoy some beautiful music. Have yourself a good weekend. Thank you for listening, and go out and be nice to each other. Okay? Bye-bye.